Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I know that it's 6 p.m. in the UK, which means it's time for Evening Brews. I hope everybody is good. I hope everybody is playing again. That's why. Let me just. When you have YouTube running in the background of your own computer, the blooper reel has started early with me yet again. So, guys, it's the few days after the disaster result. We will be speaking about Ange, but we're going to have quite of a serious conversation about what we think we need to do. People that are watching, love for you to get involved. Of course, I'm joined by, as you can see, Mr. Small Clock, James Flower. Brother, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
Good.
My little lad's on the bed, so if I turn my head, people, just trying to be a good parent.
There you go. That's what it needs. But let's just say hello to everyone we got in the chat. So we start off with Tottenham Forever. Big up, Ryan. I hope you're good, buddy. Adrian, big up to you. The roadman is MIA, or he's not missing in action. I know where he is, but he won't be here till Friday. So Morning Brews will be pre-recorded premieres this week. Eddie, big up to you. Ryan Mason is the very, very first subject we're going to talk about, and going to let people in on a few things that we know. One of them being he's not on set pieces, and James can go into that. Yep, you've left a few messages. The most important one being that. Good evening, Matty. I hope you're good and well, buddy. Channel member Tweaky is in the house. Channel member Andrew Gregory is in the house. Channel member Rob Frank, big up to you, buddy. Is in the house. Another channel member in the Sheriff. And we've also got Active on Wembley that's here. And yes, Levy out. And good evening to my brother Sean Slater. I hope you're feeling better than you have been. Also a channel member. And of course, the ever-present Colin Crossamano is with us. So we are going to start, James, with Ryan Mason. We can talk about what he's doing at Spurs, blah, 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 and all these rumours. So RSC Anderlecht are looking for a new manager, and it broke out that there was an unnamed young coach that was rumoured to be a front runner, and was told he's currently under contract at a club. Well, today or late this morning, my time, early afternoon or mid-afternoon, your time, I'm not going to try and say this person's name because I will butcher it. Let's just say Sasha. Ryan Mason, the young coach, 33-year-old, is the chosen one by RSC Anderlecht to be Brian. I thought that was to be me for a minute. Brian Remier's successor. As told last Friday, the English coach has been wanted David Hubert to stay in charge of the first team group. And then it got a bit more, it got retweeted to say that he is now leading the race. James, I don't know how we're gonna handle this or go with this or what we want to say, but your thoughts, first of all, on the possibility, and it looks like a big possibility, of Ryan Mason leaving Tottenham Hotspur.
So, obviously, I'll let people into a bit of a secret if they don't know. I actually am friends with Ryan Mason, and I went to school with him. Obviously, as you know, we've had many discussions. Yeah, I saw you on a bit of tension there. Yeah. And I went to school with him, and there was a lot of stuff that was kind of said about Ryan Mason that was completely not true. Like all that time he was getting stick about set pieces. Me and you spoke, didn't we? He had nothing to do with them. He literally nothing to do with them. And I was speaking to him not so long ago, and he was saying that he wanted to be a manager. And the vibe was from him and a few people around the club that he's definitely good enough to be a manager. Whether he's good enough to walk into Tottenham is completely different. And the way I would describe it is like sometimes it's very easy to pick somebody out because they've heard a bit of Chinese whispers without actually knowing the full story. But if he does go to Anderlecht, for me, I don't want any. Well, obviously I know him, but I don't want any bad. I don't want any negative. Go out. I hope you fulfil your dream as a manager. I hope you win the league. I hope you push on, and I hope you get your big move.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, like you said, I mean, we've spoken and we've had discussions that you'd spoken to Ryan. Obviously, there's a long-standing friendship. And when we spoke ages ago, and you were telling me, obviously, one of the things that was mentioned is set pieces. And you even turned around and said, he goes, I don't know why I'm getting this grief. I'm not even taking them. I don't even take set piece coaches. Obviously, he came into Tottenham with Conte. And there was a very close connection with Conte and him he was the Chelsea manager when that unfortunate and career-ending or playing career-ending injury happened. Obviously, he's been Tottenham's go-to when we have got rid of managers, whether it be Jose Mourinho and saying, here you go, deal with Manchester City, whether it be once we sacked Conte and Stellini, you took charge. Obviously, he's been used as a person to critique and a Levy Mole, which fair well he could be, who knows. But I think this is something he needs to do, isn't it?
100%, yeah. Like again, he didn't set the world alight. Of course, he didn't. But he did come in at a time where, I mean, Jose Mourinho got sacked. That's big. That's a big steps to follow, to change the whole philosophy of defensive football to try and come out and say, I want to play attacking football. And then Conte come in and then the same thing and the same thing. I think sometimes people need to give people a chance in life. And even like we're saying about Ange, I'm sure we'll get onto Ange, people need to give people a chance before they kind of knock things down and look at the bigger picture.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, Joe, I don't know how deep we're going to go into, but also with this, with Mason, he needs to go and get some managerial experience. Let's just say the worst happened, the worst of the worst. We sacked Ange at any point in this season, and we just said Ryan Mason is going to take over till the end of the season. He hasn't cut his teeth in any league, has he? We've seen players now go abroad to learn trades and come back better. Not saying that he's going to go there, become the next Pep or anything, but sometimes people need to do this. I don't want him to be the next fall guy. I literally said, if Ange comes back, he's our next manager, and it's going to pull it out of that gun, isn't it?
Well, I think it's like we were saying, and let's be real. He's working. He's working under someone like Daniel Levy. So Daniel Levy is firing somebody, bringing him in. I mean, look how long we went without a manager, and that all fell at his feet when he's never managed a club in his life. You've got to look at the overall picture. For me, I hope he goes to Anderlecht. I think that could be a great move. Hopefully, he wins the league, does okay, and then hopefully somebody, like a championship club says, you know what, we'll give you a try, and let him build his career up. Because whether I think he's good enough or not, I personally don't. Not for where I want Tottenham to be, and that's saying something.
Yeah,
but you've got to let a guy earn his stripes. So for me, go and do it at Anderlecht. Go to a championship club, do it, and then let's see where you are in 5 years' time, because he's really young.
Well, this is it. I mean, like I said, this whole stream, we're going to have proper conversations. So I want people to get involved with this. And obviously, when we speak Ange, I don't want the chat when we're saying, what do we do? How can we fix this? Just so we say, let him leave. I want to have a serious discussion with you, James, and the people in the chat. And I will say very quickly, there's a man that backs Ange to the hills. But more importantly, he backs Tottenham on tour to the hills. And once again, Peter has given out yet another membership to someone. Peter, thank you for your... Listen, we have incredible supporters on this channel, as we're very, very proud to have. And people are able to support the channel, whether it be viewing, whether it be super chats, whether it be memberships, gifting memberships. And Peter, you're an incredible part of the family. Thank you for your continued support. Obviously, with some of the Ange talk, and he's very, very big Ange in, just like I am. I think you are pretty much. We're going to get onto it. And there's a lot of people that will be thinking that the manager needs to go. People know my stance and your stance. But let's start talking about should Mason go. We're going to make our way over to Ange shortly. Mason goes, is that another coach comes in? Do you reckon? Do we need another coach? Do we reckon we need people to come in and take the flak, or Nick Montgomery will take over? What do you reckon we need, James?
So there's two ways of looking at it.
Big up, Rich.
I would like a experienced coach to come in and be number two. Somebody that's not prepared to get there. Somebody that's prepared to get their hands dirty, get involved. I would like somebody that's going to kind of question Ange as well. Not for anything that I think Ange is doing wrong, but sometimes, say for example, we're getting caught on their counter attack. I want someone to come in and say, "Look, this has happened every game so far. Like, let's do something about it. Like, work as a team." Obviously, Ange is going to have the final say, but I would like somebody to come in and actually give fresh ideas. And that has happened with the other coach coming, because all our set pieces, we only conceded one really to Arsenal all season. And the amount what we've actually had, I think we've done well. So sometimes new people coming in isn't always bad ideas. Isn't always a bad idea. So I would like somebody experienced in that respect. But my heart, if I could pick from my heart, I'd get Jermaine Defoe back.
That would be
from my heart. That I know he's not ready, but if I'm picking from my heart as a Spurs fan, that's what I'd pick.
That'd be. I mean, first of all, I want to say a big up to Rich for being in the chat. Rich, I know you and I had a what? How can I put it? A miscommunication. Or I think we didn't agree with on Danny's, and we had a little conversation in the chat. But big up, happy to see you here. Listen, football's all about opinions. The main one is how we feel about the board.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is fair game and everything. And I think you're the one that's been in receipt of the membership from Peter. So big up to you, Rich. I hope you're good and well. So you mentioned Jermaine Defoe. I'm kind of looking at it right now. When it comes to an assistant manager coming in, or sorry, if we do, this is if we do, who knows? Ash could say, right, I've got enough coaches, too many coaches spoil the broth, blah, blah, blah. Chefs, obviously, I've changed that for. I don't, what kind of assistant manager? Obviously, you've mentioned Jermaine Defoe, and that's the Tottenham, obviously, the Tottenham with your heart and the loyalty to Tottenham and everything. What do you think? And people in the chat, there's another great shout there's a great shout from Audio. And the only reason I say that, do you know what? Do you know how much respect I have for Robbie Keane going to a different country with a different culture, different language, and getting his teeth, cutting his teeth? Like we're saying, exactly what Mason's doing now. I think the what we've seen Robbie Keane do shows he can do it in a league that he didn't know, a language he had to learn, a culture he had to learn. So I think he's further along that. But again, it's a great shout. Say again?
Where is he?
He went to Maccabi Tel Aviv or Hapoel Tel Aviv, one of the two. I can't remember. He was in Israel. But he left there after a year. He's come back. Now, obviously, that's another one. I just want to say big up to a few people. Big up, Psycho Teacher. Good to see you in here. Side Dancer, I didn't see you in. Big up to you, buddy. But this is the thing. When we look at it, both those are Robbie Keane and Jermaine Defoe from the heart. If we're looking at from the head and like an assistant manager, I don't know if it'll be classed as number two or assistant scout, whatever the role.
Yeah.
What are the key things that we think needs to change it? The manager, if we're looking at the attributes, like if we're looking for a striker, we got Solanke because he fits Ange's mold. What do we need in the coaching staff right now to help Ange and help the team as well?
I mean, going back to legends, you could pick loads. Somebody like Van der Vaart, somebody that actually loves the club, somebody that actually wants to win, someone that's somebody that actually wants to win and progress, not somebody that's prepared to just sit there and take a paycheck. Or I know Anges are like this, and it's a bit of like obviously contradicting myself, but I would like somebody on that touchline as well to actually have a bit of passion. I know Ange is very stern, but row other players up, fire them up, give them that extra 5 or 10%.
So I mean, I will bring up side that unfortunately they're both playing, but when it comes to the first man, this man can come back and do anything he wants for all I care, because people like, so this is the thing now. Are we looking at it? And I'm going to, again, people in the chat just simply say a Tottenham man or a guy that, do we want a guy to come in that is a Tottenham man that knows this club? Is that more important right now than bringing in a coach that could say, right, leadership, let's just say, I want to sort this club.
Yeah.
Where are you going right now in the chat?
No,
Are you going to bring a Tottenham legend or like a
No.
disciplinarian,
Yeah,
sort this crap out now?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm speaking from the head and I'm wanting my club to do well, you want the best coaches available inside the squad. You want somebody that's going to take no crap. You want somebody that's going to stand up to the people with attitude. You know, Basuma turning up late. I want someone standing there saying, you might as well go back home, mate. That's what I would like. You're letting the team down. You're turning up here, so on and so on. That's the sort of person that I would like. But again, obviously, whenever you mention sort of Spurs legends, you're always like, oh, sentimental. Like, yeah, get him in. But realistically, I think I would rather go for someone that's a proper coach, that's going to do proper drills, proper structure.
Well, this is the thing, James, because you look at it, obviously, we've seen Ange's training systems that the players seem, and they've said they're different to all the others. You look at it, we can say quite easily that when we've had the disciplinarians in and things aren't going right, these players, although there was a lot of the old players, we got rid of them, were very, we'll throw this guy under the bus, we'll get him out, because the coaches will pay more. The coach and the managers are easier to replace than the players. I mean, obviously, I can't think right now off the top of it. Does anyone realistically, if we were to go for a second in command or another coach, could anyone recommend someone that's actually available and that could do a job? Can you think of anyone, James?
I don't. It's not really my expertise, to be honest.
There's one.
Michael Carrick, yeah. What about Ralph Radnick? Is it?
Yeah, he's at Austria now, though, isn't he? He's at Austria.
Would he leave them to come to us, maybe?
I don't know if he would. I mean, Peter's mentioned one. Obviously, there's the Ipswich guy, but as much as I rate him, and he's done an incredible job at Ipswich, I don't see the Ipswich manager saying, no, I'm going to go from being a number one
to a number two.
To a number two. Unfortunately, Psycho, that ain't happening anytime soon. I just can't see. But you know what? Let's move on to what does Spurs need to do? And we are going to be speaking Ange at the end. And again, what I will say with Ange and Pete, actually, let's deal with Ange now. Let's deal with Ange Postecoglou now. And I've put it down as Ange's to-do list. And to start off with, I am going to bring up, if I can find Peter's comment, because I'm going to read something that Paddy sent me. I don't know if you watched the fan show on Friday, James, but I'm going to read something on a two-part from his book. So I'm going to read it in a second. But I've stated, and I will continue to stay, I am going to stay patient. And I am staying patient with Ange because I've said we keep changing managers. It doesn't work. I want to see a manager be given time. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work and whatever. But I don't want to throw another manager under the bus just to bring another one in to do the same again. But I'm just going to read. These are two parts from his book that Paddy sent me that I read out on the fan show Friday. So the first part is, and this is two paragraphs. It's not two intermittent parts. This is one whole section from his book. Each time Postecoglou has taken charge of a new team, it's roughly been the same sort of pattern. Obvious teething issues interspread with flashes of real promise. Disjointed pressing and passing, bad defending, widespread questioning of Postecoglou, his appointment, those who appointed him, his methods, his sanity, and why anyone from Australia should be trusted on football. The losses pile up. Pundits will say his team have been figured out and that a plan B is required immediately. The word naive will get thrown around. Critics will point out that he spends most of his press conferences looking at the floor and not the person asking the questions. The industry will smell blood. But then the smog begins to clear. The team starts to make a habit of scoring late equalisers or winners. Certain players who are thought to be rubbish begin to find previously unimaginable levels of performance. Maybe he's onto something, the critics concede. A creeping sense of inevitability starts to build around the team, and then around the club. And soon enough, outsiders sense it too. The skeptics start to believe. Then it starts to look like Then it starts to look like it's working. Then it starts working, and then it's really working. At this point, the players are not expecting tactics anymore. What they are doing has become a part of them, and from then on, it tends to take care of itself. Now, up until Brighton and the recent 5 wins in 5 games, that actually looked like it was bang on the money, and still could be bang on the money. But this one loss, do you know what? The manner of the loss, and we'll get onto leadership later, a lot is down with the players. And Peter, I'd love to know what you thought. You've seen it for 24 years. Has he, and I'm not going to speak as knowing Ange well enough, has he been like this at all clubs with, and I'm mainly talking about what he said after the Brighton, because some of those comments did not come out, in my opinion, right, and didn't sit right with me, James. What about yourself?
No, I completely agree, to be honest. Sometimes less is more, and I wish he would just shut his mouth because less would be more. If he just come out and said, after the game, just said that these players dug themselves in such a bad hole, they need to learn to get themselves out of it, or something along that line, I would go, you know what, fair play. But he just continues like subs don't make a difference. Like that's that. I'm sorry. Tell that to Gareth Bale in the Champions League final against Liverpool, where he scores a bicycle kick and then one from 30, 40 yards and wins them the Champions League. For me, that is just absolute nonsense. I'm sorry, that's nonsense. The things that he does say, even coming out saying all of these, I mean, there's a tongue in cheek, because what I do think is there's a lot of very negative Spurs fans out there at the moment. And they're very happy to pick up on a little bit that Ange said, but then he's also said something before that and they ignore that part. So what they say, for example, as an example, they will say, Ange has got every player he wanted. He said everyone that he comes in is his player. He said something along those lines, correct?
Yep.
Last season, he also said these forwards I have are not good enough. So, 2 completely different statements, but yet we signed Timo Werner back after he said in public these forwards are not good enough. So we're going to ignore that big part and just take this little part because it suits my narrative rather than look at the whole thing. Yes, he has to have the final say on the signings. I completely agree. Do I think the signings are good enough? Absolutely not. But if, for example, Daniel Levy sat down with him and said, look, we're going to get an Archie Gray, a Bergvall, and then we're going to look later on in the transfer window for somebody like Conor Gallagher. He's probably gone, sounds perfect to me. I've got my 2 kids coming in, and then I've got Conor Gallagher, sign me up. And what people want to say is, well, that fell short there. We did actually try to make a bid for those guys, but we only got the young kids in, so this is all Ange's fault. Like, for me, I like to judge on what I see, and I've seen 24 years of experience of exactly the same stuff. So how comes now all of a sudden everything's changed, but Ange is the problem now?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I mean, what I will say, and I can see Peter in the comments, and Peter is very, very patriotic, obviously, and also has seen him for many, many, many years. He even said a couple of decades. And I completely get that. And I'm completely on board with people standing by their man. Just like, for instance, I have with Johnson. I'm not going to lie, when Ronnie Rosenthal came to Spurs, did I have a vested interest in his development or to the Premier League? Of course I did. And it was like with Sonny or any Israeli player or any player who plays for your country, if you're not English, you're always going to have a vested interest. But I understand where you're coming from, Peter. But like I said, I am completely Ange. I won't turn on the manager. And Peter's hit it on the head. The biggest problem is
Sorry about
The
that.
biggest problem, that's right. The biggest problem he has is because we haven't won anything since 2008. Most fans, and you know what? I get this as well. But they're not willing to. We are so in need and so thirsty for success and winning a trophy and getting this fan. Listen, I keep going back on. I remember, and it just shows how big. And I can't believe I'm about to say this. Arsenal, the filth. Our biggest thing for years till they won an FA Cup was when they're out the Champions League and out the Cups, we used to sing whatever amount of years it was, and you've won fuck all, or your season's over and you've won fuck all. And we did that up until 8 years when they finally won something, and then they repeatedly kept winning the FA Cup again. We've doubled that. We have doubled. And yeah, they joke and say that we don't win trophies and all that. It's come our way. It's come our way, and we are so thirsty for it. Now, again, people will disagree that the manager has to go. People will say that I think he has to fix it, and I think he has to be given time to fix it. But in all seriousness now, and the input from the chat is going to be most important here. What would be the 3 things, and don't just put Ange to walk out the door. Let's have a serious conversation and see if we can all agree or find, not that this is going to benefit us in any way because Ange will do what Ange wants and he's the man at the top. What's the 3 things for you that has to change? Like I say on his to-do list is what I put in the title. What are the changes that you think he needs to see and implement immediately, James? And obviously people in the chat.
So I think it's more so it's more so like player mistakes and buying players that are physically good enough on the ball, because when you see for example, the first half of Brighton, we didn't give the ball away at all. We were so good with it. They had 1 or 2 chances, but sometimes when you're playing high risk, you get high reward. So you have to take those risks to get those rewards. So I think that before I judge him, I'd like us to actually get proper squad together. I know people are saying, Bentancur, Basuma. For me, I'm kind of done with Basuma now. I think he's a good player. I think he's too loose on the ball. I think he gives the ball away too much. I also think Sonny gives away the ball too much. I also think Udogie gives away the ball far too much. And I think if, say, for example, we got a proper centre midfielder in, like a proper quality centre midfielder, somebody not this good, but somebody like a Michael Carrick or a Luka Modric, somebody that's just calm. No matter what position you're in, they're going to take that ball, they're just calm. I think that would stop Romero rushing into midfield trying to be the hero. I think that calms the defence down a little bit. I think things like playing Udogie every single minute, I think he should have played Jed Spence. So I suppose what I'm saying is I think I'd like to see him give the other players a bit more of a chance and sticking with exactly the same squad. I know we've won 4 or 5 on the bounce, but let's be honest, 2 of them were Europa League. United's a fantastic win. But I would like him to say, like Timo Werner, unfortunately, man, I said this to you. I had a big argument with Johnny. He told me, how is this a bad deal? It's good business. And I said, mate, you're clueless. If you've never seen this guy play, I've seen him. All my Chelsea mates said, yeah, you're an idiot, mate. You've actually signed the worst player we've ever had. So for me, if he's playing like that, then bring Mikey Moore in. What are we going to lose? I think he was good. I think he's done it. Sorry, I know I'm going on, but I do think
fine, buddy.
Things like Kulu into midfield, I do think he's actually trying to adjust things.
He would have been.
I think you get one inverted at a time. So Pedro Porro will overlap, and then Udogie will come in. I saw Udogie overlap a few times, and Pedro Porro come in. And even the goals, I know we'll probably get into it, but the goals come from individual mistakes. Like for me, Van der Ven the first goal, Porro should have blocked the cross. Van der Ven should have got a foot on it. Udogie miscontrols it. There's 3 mistakes leading to that goal, and people going, yeah, but if Ange didn't play the high line, it's Like, come on.
Can I ask
Let's
you
be
a
honest.
serious question? All right, you mentioned Timo Werner, so I'm going to bring this up. I will say that I believe everyone can be serious when we're having this discussion, and we're going to have this discussion seriously. And I saw something, and I laughed at it to begin with, but then it got me really, really thinking. And I just want the chat to mention just the player's name. I saw a tweet that said, "You know what? I'd rather have kept the option of Sessegnon for a year than Timo Werner." And I thought when I first heard it, I was like, "Bloody hell!" But then I thought back and I looked at it and I said, "You know what? The guy had been on a cheaper wage. His best position was left midfield. I honestly don't know. And serious people, who would you rather have? Would you have rathered right now Sessegnon stay? Now we know his injury problems, which wouldn't have helped us right now if he was injured because obviously Odebear and Sonny were out. But if you had the chance right now, Sessegnon was still at the club for this year. We just saw out the year, or Timo Werner was re-signed. Which one are you going for, James? Just in the chat, just put Sessegnon or Werner. Who would you go for?
I know a lot of people are going to pick Sessegnon because of how Timo Werner's performing. And like I said about how bad I said Timo Werner was. The one thing I will say is I watched like the extended highlights back earlier. And right at the beginning, he takes a touch, moves the ball onto his left foot, and he like loses the ball. He kind of like miscontrols it. He gets down on his hands and his knees and he punches the floor about 3 or 4 times and then he gets back up. So for me, and I'm not saying that he's a great player, but the way he kind of bent over there and started punching the floor, it's you know, like rather than get up and correct that mistake, he's obviously seriously struggling mentally, in my opinion.
Yep.
And that ain't nice. Do I think that he's a good player? No. But his movement's very good. His positioning's very good. He's able to beat his man. I mean, how many times did he get in on goal? It's just that confidence side of things. So I would stick with Timo Werner because I think a fully fit Timo Werner is better than Sessegnon.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, as Rich said before, I'm just having the discussion because a tweet was put out. But when you see it, we're talking left wing, Sessegnon or Werner, and then this man, Odebear, who we're all like, where the hell has this come from? What the hell does this do? How badly would we have loved him here right now? I think he played well in his debut against Everton. Obviously, he went off very early against Coventry. He started against Newcastle. Newcastle wasn't the best of performances. But right now would have been the best time to have him, wouldn't it? It's just been this injury issue again. Do we need a better fitness coach instead of Mason?
But is it the best time? Is it the best time to have somebody like that? Because we are all so deprived of winning something that we are giving none of our players any time. People have written off Archie Gray. They've written off Bergvall. They've written off him, said he's got no end product. No one's prepared to give anybody any time anymore. They've written off Johnson. You know, I mean, I even saw people like writing off Big Vic, saying how bad he was and stuff. And tell me the last time he made a mistake. That's, you know what I mean? They said he was bad in the air. He's come for every cross since. Like, you've got to give. Not only have we got a new manager and we've got a whole new backroom staff, we've got players playing in different positions, different formations. Everyone's trying to take on little bit by little bit.
Yeah.
So where I am with Ange is I want him to stay as long as possible, because if it goes wrong, I want it to blow up and leave his face, and if it goes right, I'm happy to ride the coaster. We can't keep like bashing our manager though. We're getting rid of our manager, going, well, he's been backed. I don't believe that. I believe that he took what was on offer, and otherwise there was nothing on offer.
Yep. So Mr. Box Office is in the chat. Big up to Alex. I hope you're good, brother. I hope you're good. James, you just said it. Werner not good enough. He's a confidence player. I'm fed up with confidence players. I need arrogance and swag. Listen, this is this is it, and this is when we're saying it. It's excuse like not. It's we haven't got the strong enough players. The coaches are obviously there is a lot going on. So Ange's to-do list is quite extensive. Do you think, and this is people in the chat as well, just yes or no, do you think Ange is under serious pressure? And I'm talking about forget what the fans are saying, forget
just
what
the board level, yeah.
Just at Tottenham Hotspur, the higher up, like we know on Thursday, apparently the Man U board are meeting, and Eric Ten Hag is the top of the list that they're talking about. Do we think Ange Postecoglou right now from the board?
I know he's not. I know he's not.
Do you want to elaborate or
no?
Okay, that's fine.
I know he's not. Like they all believe that he can do what he can do. Apparently, he was this blunt and arrogant when they interviewed him. He was, "This is my way. You know what you're getting when I come in. Don't then tell me in a year's time you're not happy because it's going to take X, Y, Z to get where we are and blah, 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 blah." So, yeah, I know he's not under no pressure at all. And good. Like I said, if it backfires, I want it to backfire into Levy's face.
This is the thing. I mean, a lot of people, there's mainly knows. I don't think, Jimmy, this is the thing, buddy. I don't think the Sharks are circling. I don't think the Sharks are circling. Do I think after a few poor results, if they are poor, Dan, the worrying thing for me is, and again, this will be a topic. It's a double-edged sword because as much as I want to hear Levy out being screamed and shouted and sang in that stadium again, it's a double-edged sword because that happens. I know what will happen after it. The pressure grows on him. He will make Ange the fall guy.
Yeah.
I've been on We Are Tottenham TV today talking. I think Ange is the one. I've said again, I'm happy, or I need to make sure I word this properly. I'm happy we had that defeat against Brighton in the Premier League, the Man City in the Carabao Cup. The Carabao Cup and getting us and winning that is more important to me than when we finish in the league. Getting further in the FA Cup and getting to a final is more important to me than where we are in the league. The Europa League obviously doesn't even need answering. I don't think he is under pressure. I will say, and I've said it before, the sweet spot for the man upstairs is end of October, early November for managers in their second season. If like that substitution that happened at Man U with Nuno and then obviously Levy out chant, bang, you're gone. We all know what happened with Conte, his outburst. As soon as the pressure gets put onto Levy, someone pays the price for it to divert it. So do I think he is under pressure, Ange, at the moment? No. But am I fearful he could be? But the only reason I think he could be is if the pressure gets ramped up on Levy. If the pressure gets ramped up on Levy, then Ange is going to pay the price. I guarantee it. I
will play devil's advocate with that because
go on.
I think that he's done that too many times. I think there's a little bit inside of him that doubts sacking Poch. I think there's a little bit inside of him that doubts sacking Mourinho. Because if he would have said, you know what, Mourinho, go and win that cup, it would have took all the pressure off of him as a chairman. And I think a lot of people would have gave him a bit more time. So for me, I think that he's got this season to do what he wants.
I hope so. Because listen, people have got big up John George. I hope you're good buddy in the family. I've said it, and a lot of people have mentioned me saying it on YouTube and other channels, or when I've been saying it on Twitter as well. And listen, like I said, people can agree or disagree with me with how I feel about the ownership. People can agree and disagree with me and anyone else how you feel about the manager, certain players. Obviously, I've been tweeting a lot recently about Brennan Johnson because I have backed him. He has turned up. He is performing. He is doing what people were accusing him of not doing, of scoring. Yes, they haven't been against the big teams. Yes, blah blah. But he's 66, and I am at the point, like I said, when it comes to this owner, when it comes to the manager, we're going to be here again in 2 years' time. Sorry, James, just very quick. Do I need to think he needs to tweak certain things? And Peter's probably still in the chat. And I understand what he says. He's seen what he does for 2 years and results happen. But obviously, this is the Premier League. We've seen managers tweak differently in different times to combat when we're on the up and they get the better of us. I think things do need to happen. He does need to tweak a few things. And I honestly believe the only way we're going to win a trophy is by sticking by a manager.
So there's two things. I'll come to the trophy bit after.
Yeah.
The first bit, like, are you personally, and everybody in the chat, are you really not fucking fed up with swapping manager every 6?
Yeah.
We have a 6-month manager search. Get a new manager in. Within that year, we're on his back. Let's do it again. Like you personally, have you not had enough of that? Like I've had enough of that. I've completely had enough of that.
Yep. This is the thing. Like I said, I didn't really want Nuno. I don't think any of us wanted Nuno.
No.
Didn't particularly want AVB. Didn't particularly want Mourinho. I actually went mad when I heard Mourinho. I smashed my tablet at my workplace at the time when I had to do it. But as soon as they signed, did I back them? Yes. Have they worked? We've got to the finals. Managers have gone. We've got to semi-finals. Managers have gone. We keep swapping it. And the worrying thing for me is if we do, let's just say the time came when we did part ways with Ange. We have brought in a load of players for an attacking manager. We will bring in a defensive manager. I guarantee it's what we do. We will lose our philosophy of the way we're going with this manager and everyone wants. We'll revert back. And then we've got too many players.
Everyone was talking about Tuchel. Well, that's back in the other direction again.
Well, the thing is as well, mate, and Tuchel is obviously there, and there's the link. He used to be a Spurs fan. He's not hiring another manager that will give Levy help. He's not hiring another manager that will stand up to him or call it out as it is.
Agreed.
But listen, I honestly believe this manager. Listen, I could be wrong. I could be, and so could many others that want him to stay and think we need to change this mentality of swapping managers every time the going gets tough. But I am afraid, as much as I do want to hear Levy outsung at every home game, every away game, as soon as that happens, Ange will pay for it. So we're going to come on to the last subject.
Can I just add about the trophy?
Of course you can, buddy.
So like what Alex said about the passion, I want people to have a bit more grit. I agree with him completely. And there's one competition that I believe we can win. Not saying we will, saying we can. And that, to be honest, is the Europa League. And the reason for that is this season, no Champions League teams drop down into it. There's just Europa League teams. There's no Champions League dropping down. So I believe that we are one of the best teams in that competition at the moment. And therefore, we have every right to be challengers for that or one of the favourites for that. Whether we do or not, that's a different thing. But if you put it on paper, Ajax, I think that we're in it. We're better than those. You know, United, we've just beat United. So, yeah, I think that the Europa League this season we could actually go for. And I really hope that he does. Because if he does, if that ends every argument, like, debatable. It'd be probably our second best manager in history.
This is the thing. If he does win a trophy, he is that, isn't he?
Yeah.
Listen, we have one day Ramos as the only oh no, wait a minute. 2008. Yeah, one day Ramos is the only manager to win anything under this ownership. It's an elite. It's the elitist of elite clubs for managers that he is the only one. And yes, he came in and got the job done after we sacked. I can't remember when he came in now, but this is the thing. We need to stick by him because any person like I'm going to bring up Rich's comment. This is the thing. We keep saying we need someone that will come in and lay the law down and be a disciplinarian. If a manager has a reputation for stirring the pot or not towing the line, he's not coming to this football club. He's not coming to this football club. Conte was the last one. Remember, people, that was the last chance saloon for many people. It didn't work. Whichever way you want to say it's because of his football, because of how negative he was, or because what he said in that press conference, which I still think is the greatest thing that has happened under Levy's tenure. It's not going to happen. So we're looking at managers who to bring in. And as soon as we bring that manager in, people will go, oh my God, why have we brought him in? Oh my God, this and a bit. And we'll repeat the cycle. The last one I want to talk about, and I'm going to read the comment out because I was stupid with this one, because obviously I didn't realise that I'd actually left this up, so I can't see. I want to talk about leaders on the pitch, James.
Yeah.
I'm fed up of people like James Maddison flapping their gums after the fact, although he's the one that's only come out. And he has said yesterday's second half, obviously Sunday, was unacceptable. We take full responsibility and criticism and we'll use it as fuel to move forwards. Now, isn't use it as fuel to move forwards basically rewording, we come back bigger, stronger, we learn from this, we are stronger? Are you fed up of hearing leaders? And as I said on We Are Tottenham TV now, I don't think Tottenham Hotspur have leaders. We now have experienced players. I don't think there is a leader on that pitch. I honestly, even with Romero on there, who is happy to slap people when they score goals, but is there, the body language of some of these senior, these experienced players. Where has the, and another, and I'll ask you this, but then I'm going to ask the chat as well. Tell me, apart from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who we got because he was on the last year of his contract, and we did that deal with Kyle Walker-Peters, and Scott Parker, who had been at the top, and I'll say was at the top coming down, tell me a proper leader that will give shit and demand more on the pitch that Spurs have signed. Not brought up through the ranks, Spurs have signed. But are you getting fed up with the lack of leaders on this pitch?
I don't even think Pierre Højbjerg was a leader. I think he did a lot of pointing, a lot of people when he made the mistake. I never see him stand up and start arguing and stick up for our team. I think he was the same as James Maddison. I think when you're winning, he looks like a leader. The moment you start losing and he makes mistakes, I think he does exactly the same thing. For me, there's only one leader on that pitch at the moment, and I know it's going to sound like I'm biased, but it's Vicario. He's the only one that gives anybody any kind of crap. But again, I still wouldn't have him as a captain. I still don't think he's captain material. But I can't remember anybody that we've signed as a leader. I don't think there's many players like that around anymore. I mean, I don't. If you look at the big clubs, Rodri, he's not really that leader type that you would say. Well, he is a leader, but he's not like you're screaming, shouting in the faces. Declan Rice isn't really that kind of player. Chelsea haven't really got any of that kind of player. I mean, Aston Villa have got John McGinn, who I think is very good at that.
Correct.
But there's not many around now like that. And this isn't aimed at football, but I think the next generation are very soft. We would get a kick in and told what's correct and what's not correct. Now I don't think anybody does that.
So, big up, Anthony. I haven't seen you for a while. I hope you could. This is actually a very good point. It got pointed out to me, or not pointed out to me, when I was, I can't remember what show I was on. Might have been Angel Management, might have been when I was on We Are Tottenham earlier. And when we list those kind of leaders, the Gerrards, the Terrys, the Adams, the Kings. I don't know if you could put King in that. King was a great captain. Was he a Julian Dix, a person that would not take crap? It didn't just have to be captain. Are these players a dying breed?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they're a dying breed or they're having it not coached out of them, so to speak. That's not what is deemed as leadership on the pitch anymore.
No, there's far too much money involved now. Before you used to love playing football. Now, let's be honest, a lot of players probably think if I get to the Championship, I'm sorted. I've done block him. We if I get to the Championship, I've made it. There's not that many. I mean, would you class? I would class Van der Vaart as a leader. Would you class that as a leader? He wasn't very angry, but the passion was there when you played in those big games. He wanted to win those big games.
I will say before we go on to that, King Jeffrey Dawson, I don't think was bought as a leader. He became and grew into a leader. I'm talking about right now. We've seen it when we've had our great teams with Poch or those things that have been one thing away. Scott Parker came in as a leader. You knew that guy had been captain for teams.
True,
you knew what it is about. Michael Dawson, I see where you're coming from. The point you were just making, Van der Vaart, but you know what? Van der Vaart gave everything. Example, Pedro Porro gives everything on that pitch, will not take shit. Whether it's listened to, whether you see his emotion, I don't see it. You know what I mean? You look at all these teams now that are winning.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a player that will not tolerate shit on the pitch.
Yeah.
Whether it's as the captain or you knew for a fact back in the day, and it again shows our age. You look at a Rio Ferdinand, a Vidic, John Terrio, a Carvalho, Steven Gerrard, a Tony Adams, a Graham Roberts, a Steve Perryman. If crap was on the pitch, I mean, the last time I proper saw something like that is when Hugo Lloris went running for Heung-min Son. To be like, listen, what is going on? I think it may be a dying art. I really do think it may be a dying art, but I just don't see it. And when you hear these people, I'm sick and tired of seeing Spurs social media and players come out after games saying, we learn from this. We come back bigger. We come back stronger.
Yeah.
Because they don't. And the thing is, what's got to be, and why I'm saying it here, is like you said at the beginning, James, it's all well and good when everything's good and you're winning. But the body language and the just, whether you want to say they down tools or maybe that's too harsh or whatever, just the acceptance of what was going on Sunday.
I'll bloody say it. They quit at 2-0 when they conceded that first goal. They quit. They all crumbled.
Well, this thing, Kulu, again, I think is a player that wasn't brought in as a leader. Listen, he's now got the Swedish captaincy, and that could be the making of him to become more of a. It could be. But I just think the big clubs will have a player that will not tolerate shit and will galvanise the troops. Peter, once again, thank you for gifting another membership to someone. So if you have become a member, please say thank you to Peter. Yes, I mean we're winning at life. I just think we need some assertiveness. We need some leadership. It's not like for instance, James Maddison. As I said, I don't know if people think I'm right or wrong with this. Just say right or wrong in the chat. I think we've changed the word leadership, or leadership is now deemed as experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Is James Maddison a leader? I don't think so. If is James Maddison, I think someone that's going to go, come on, what the hell is this? No. The only one on that pitch, and I'm going to say, like I said before, I think is Pedro Porro. Is the only one. I don't think like you said, I will agree with you, Vicario, but during a game, Vicario is not going to run out.
Agreed.
And run in a tree from goalkeeper. This is why I think we need a centre midfielder or someone to come in, or someone that can literally light a rocket up their arse.
You know what I feel like we need, and I do agree. I do agree with that. You need like a leader, but you know what else I think we need? I think we haven't got. I think this is the first time in a long time that we don't have that one. We've always had one player that you go, your Harry Kane, your Gareth Bale, your Luka Modric, your Ledley King. We've always had that one player where you go, you know what? No, I'm going to win this game for us. Yep. You don't want to play? You don't want to play? Give me the ball and I'll win us this game. And I feel like at this moment in time, this is why I don't blame Ange. I've given Johnson credit. I've given Son credit. I think Son's over the hill a little bit. I'll give Dominic Solanke a lot of credit, but none of them are like that natural goal threat for me anymore. None of those guys are like, I'm going to win this game on my own. Like, I'm good enough to win this game on my own. And I think that when we get one of those, we'll go, oh, it's now clicking a little bit. Whether that's a midfield, a defensive-minded midfield, even if it's a number 8 that's really defensive-minded, if it's a goal scorer, like I said, I think Solanke off the ball has been absolutely fantastic. But in that sort of 6-yard box, I don't think he's been good enough. So I think the moment we get that one bit of class talent, I think that everybody else will have to up their game.
I will say, there's absolutely, I'm going to block him. Someone block him. I don't know why you felt the need to put this comment. You just make a fool of yourself. Please get rid of this prick. Getting back, it's just, you know what, this is what happens. There's just idiots about, and why they feel the need to do this. Like we said, we're talking about captains, we're talking about leaders, we're talking things need to change at this football club. Things don't change. I think we need to bring in. I personally like if you could bring in. I'm even trying to think. I mean, a lot of people, and you were one of them, and you know how against I was with this transfer. Would Conor Gallagher have made a difference in the? And I don't mean in the quality.
He would have.
Against Chelsea, would he have made a change leadership wise?
100%. I said this all along. A lot of people said to me, Sar's better than him. And I said, look, Sar's got the engine. For me, Conor Gallagher has the engine and the footballing ability. I think he's very good on the ball. Another player that I was screaming for is Openda. I said to you, how many times I said Openda, we've got to get this guy in. A natural threat. I know a lot of people, I've got so much hate for saying I personally think Son's on the way down. And I think I said it to Ben. Let's replace him with Matoma. And then look what Matoma did.
Yeah.
We are a club that likes to react and not act. So now I would say, for example, we had Son in it. I would sign Matoma and say, Son, listen, we love you. You're a club legend. But you ain't the be all and end all. Matoma, let's see what you can do. And then light that fire in their bellies. Son knows he's playing every week. Solanke knows he's playing every week. Johnson probably knows he's playing every week now. Maddison probably knows he's playing every week. Romero, Van der Ven, they all know. So where's the fire coming from? Where's the hope? Where's the natural? I don't know. For me, I don't feel like we've got anything going forward where they're really naturally gifted, and that's what I believe we need. I think the defence gets a lot of slamming, and rightly so after the weekend. But if you have that technically gifted, world-class strikers or wingers, this system does work, and we destroy teams.
So before I ask you this question and the 117 people that are in the chat, first of all, Peter's just completed the hat trick and given yet another membership out. Peter, you are an absolute legend. Thank you so much for your continued support. I've got to try and work it out that we'll do. I want to do a show with people that live on different time zones to us that can't always join because they're at work like Peter normally is at this time. And I want to do so with members that can't always find the time. And Peter will try and work something out with other people where there's a time where I can get all you other members and have you come on and have you say whether it's live or pre-recorded. But before we go into the questions that we've got, and I may have missed a few, so I apologize. If you could sign someone right now, realistically, we're going into January, forget their position. Don't worry about if it's to replace a Van der Ven or whatever. I just want to see if we can get on the same kind of wavelength or see where people are. If you could sign one person that you could think could be a leader, forget the position they play in, or it has to be a central midfielder like I believe a captain needs to be. I can't think of one because I've just saw the question myself. I'm just see where people, a leader, and I mean leader, not that flair player, unless you think that flair player, the lead, because I think we need flair, but I think we need brawn over flair right now. And if you could sign a player that you would class as a leader, who would that player be?
Zubimendi.
Okay. We've got Eze. I'm going to be interested to see what.
I like him. Don't think he's a leader, but very good midfielder.
But this is the thing. You got to remember, this is the thing. Other people will see the game and see he could be the leader for X, Y, and Z. Big up, Mazabra. I hope you're good, buddy. I hope you're well. The Palace centre backs. We're talking Guehi. That's a big shout. That's a big shout because as much as we love our defence and our defenders, I mean I think they need competition for places and to know that. Listen, you fuck up. This is the other thing I say as well, and you've heard me say this a million times, James. At Tottenham Hotspur, more than any other club, our players are overplayed and undervalued. And when I say undervalued, I'm not even talking about their wages. I'm talking about if they're fit, they play, or if they're 85. Look at Spence. Look at Destiny. Was left out of the team to travel to Europe because it was deemed he weren't fit enough, and he clearly wasn't fit enough for the Premier League game on Sunday. Yet he plays because we have to play the 11, and for some reason we can't play Spence. Let's see what we've got as well for leadership. You mentioned John McGinn. Yeah, we've been with him a few times, but I don't think not in a million years is he leaving Villa to come to Spurs. Peter saying we got Kulu already there, but if you had to bring someone in, Peter, Nicola Barella, that's a great shout. Dan, big up, Dan. I hope you're good. Kimmich, great shout. This is the thing. Different people will see leaders in a different way.
Harry Kane?
Listen, I will listen. Harry Kane is a pipe dream. Harry Kane won't come back to this football club while someone's in charge. Eugene, Eric Dyer. This isn't the random game. Ben's been banging on about this player for ages. Locatelli would be one. Let's bring Thomas back. My man. I don't know if I'd call him a leader though. I think he'd make a huge difference to us. Who else we got? If that's the guy
it was on about a guy that does all the free kicks. It's rubbish.
Well, that's it. Let's see the questions we've got. So, first of all, it wasn't really a question. Side dancer, any news on Amanda Staveley?
Nope.
None. Absolutely none. This will keep heating up and dying down. As I've said before, from what I understand and from where I've heard it, talks are ongoing. I don't know if it's with Staveley as well or there's other parties. These talks are further down the line than they ever have been. It's just whether they get crossed over the line, whether a certain person overprices it or changes at the end. Investment is desperately needed. Is it coming? I've told if there's anything going to happen, it will be before Christmas, New Year. So let's hope so. Shawnee Slater, realistically, if Ange pulled the trigger, who would we want? Spurs under who would we want, and who would want Spurs under Levy? It's Jimmy Hotspur has then said Graham Potter. So they were the final questions. So let's have a chat with everyone in the is in the chat with us. Who would you want, and who do you think would come? I mean, and again, this is down the line. Like I said, me and James are both. I want to stick with Ange and give him the time. And if he gets the time and he fails, then you can say, do you know what? Levy gave him the time. He didn't do it. This is on Ange. This isn't on Levy.
There's only one guy I would swap Ange for in this process of rebuild, and that is the guy from Sporting Lisbon. I always forget his name.
Almiron or Almiron.
Yeah, Almiron. That is the only guy that I'd be prepared to sort of swap him for. If it was like, he's gone, he's in. Other than that, I'd just rather just keep Ange. And like I said, if it blows up, let it blow up and leave his face.
Yeah, I mean, we look at it. I don't think. Listen, he's not coming. He's not coming. There's a few people that have said Xabi Alonso, but I cannot see it in any size stretch. Listen, I will say I have two managers. He is one of them. And the only reason he is one, or not the only reason, is I want us to carry on playing attacking football. I want to, If this is the road we're going down, stick to it. Don't chop and change and overload players. I would want him, but I am going to go back to, because I honestly think in a bigger team he could do better. I don't know enough about these two to comment. Zidane, not a chance in hell, Brad. As much as that would be amazing. Who else have we got? We have got the Brighton manager. Yeah, no, he ain't coming to us. Nagelsmann has been mentioned. I'm going to mention it just as I had said. Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank
doesn't play attacking football though.
He doesn't. But what I do like about him is he adapts in games. He will change.
We'll have to get
I wanted him before. I wanted him before Ange became a manager. Does he not play attacking football because of the players he's got? Does he not?
Well,
I mean, I've been watching it recently.
He's had some good players.
I still think he could do well. We've got the Caleb mentioning the Leipzig coach. Like I said, I want, but this is the problem again. Where we are right now, James, and I've said it, apart from Chelsea, who literally have their high standards, if you don't win something, you've gone. And fair play to them, whether you agree with it or not, especially under Roman Abramovich, it was like, I'm giving you all the money that you asked for. And not just all the money, I'm getting you say you want player A, I'll get you player A. It's not, I can't get you player A too much. I'll get you player A, B, I'll get you all of them. It's down to you to win with them. If you don't, you're going to pay for it. We've got to the point where we are the Watford of the Premier League. We really have, where it comes to chopping and changing managers. And I'm just concerned managers will now look at us going, listen, if I come to this football club, whoever it is, I just need to get fourth. And if I don't, I might pay for my job, but I'm going to get paid out.
Yeah, agreed.
It's just where we are. But listen, we're going to wrap it up there because very shortly I'm on the Dagul channel with him and Nigel. I'm really looking forward to it. I believe that is at 7:30. So if any of the mods can put the link to the Danalist and Nigel's channel just while I waffle a bit. So, guys, so you know, obviously it's an international break. So there's not going to be really a lot of talking points. There may be shorter evening and morning brews. There may be more fun and games and bingo or whatever, morning and evening brews. There might be some pre-recorded bits that I want to do and get on with people, especially one with Simon about the finances of it. But we will be keeping you updated. And like I said, I start a job in November. And when I start that job, I'll be working at this time. So evening brews will be changing. There's a lot that's coming on. Thank you very much indeed, Ben. That is Nigel's channel. So, and there will be Dan's channel coming up very shortly. But James, where can people find you?
I'm in the chats of most channels, to be honest. Here is sort of like the main place I'm on. But I'm a Spurs fan, so I like getting everybody's different opinions.
Exactly. I will say, if only, could you imagine if I had to go through the interview? Or that, Joe, that would be box office. I could literally, on pay-per-view, we could sit back and relax and watch the money come in. But I just want to say there's just over 100 of you in again. Your support of this channel has been absolutely magnificent. The chat is always respectful.
Yeah.
Yes, there's odd arguments and odd bits and pieces, but listen, views are always welcome. Opinions are always welcome. It's always, what was it? Is it Jerry Springer that used to end off saying, Jerry Springer say, take care of yourself and each other. But who's the person that said it's nice to be nice?
Who
was it in the chat? Because it's going to bug the head out of me.
Yeah.
It's nice to be nice. And obviously, I'll quote my man, The Rock, who is back. The final boss is back, where he said it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. But who said what I just said? It's nice to be nice, or whatever that was. It Brucey? Was it
Bruce Forsyth? Is it Bruce?
I don't think he was Brucey. It certainly wasn't Levy. It certainly wasn't Levy.
Hmm.
Someone said it's nice to. I'm actually going to have to Google it because I don't know who said that. It's nice to be nice. It's nice to be nice. Was whose catchphrase? Here we go. Was it Brucey? Was it Brucey?
Yeah.
I can't find. Apparently it was, but I'm sure it's from another person I heard it. But anyway, it's always good. We will be back to with Morning Brews tomorrow. It will be pre-recorded with me and the cough. Evening Brews will be back tomorrow, but I don't know in what format. I will say to everyone, and James, it's always a pleasure, brother. You know you're VIP. You have the golden ticket. You're always welcome on the channel whenever you want. I will say to everyone, have a good evening. Whatever. There you go. We've got Frank Burns from MASH. May have been the one to say it. But yes, there's been a few. I'm going to find out. It's nice to be. It's really going to bug me because I can see the person saying it. I just can't think who it was. But I will say to everyone, have a wonderful rest of your Monday or Tuesday. If you're in Australia, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Or if you're in that part of the world, like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, Levy out.